welcome back to another Mortal Realms magazine review. Okay, so this week we have number 7, and it has discover more storm hosts, learn to use shade paints, and new rules to play through. Okay, so there is the cover. So you see, as usual, Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Mortal Realms. We have the artwork on the front there. We have our content for this month, number 7. Okay, so this is going to be quite a short review, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. 1, 2. Okay, so after the cool stuff we got last week, the Briar Queen and her cohort, we now return to paints and shades. So we have Rakeland Flesh Shade, which is like an ink, a flesh shade, like it says on the box, or tub even, and a pot of Stormhost Silver Citadel paint. Okay guys, so without further ado, I'm going to take it up top and I'm going to show you the magazine. Like I say, there won't be any miniatures at the end. Boo. Alright, but I can tell you that the next couple of issues there will be, so all you guys who love the miniatures, there'll be a smile back on your face soon. Okay folks, welcome back. So again, here's our front cover, like a brownie colour with a symbol on it there in gold. Really nice as usual. Issue 7. Let's take a look what's inside. Okay, so we have in this issue Storm Hosts Part 2. Only Sigmar knows the true number of Storm Hosts, but many have made a name for themselves across the realms, so that's obviously a second part of a feature that we've had in the past. Rites of Reforging. It tells us all about the Stormcast's immortality. That'll be an interesting read. The Age of Chaos tells us about the Age of Chaos, more of our history, a little bit about Nagash, Fury of the Reforged, how to paint with Shea with shade and layer paints, and Scouring the Tombs, which is obviously our playthrough this issue. Okay, editor stuff which we never read, and then we go on to the first part, the Storm Hosts, the Heavenly Hosts. Okay, so I do like these features because again they show you all the different colours that you can have. You don't have to have just your golds and your blue, you know, that's a lovely little scheme there. Quite attracted to that one. Okay, shows you some more and shows you a little bit of detail about the shields and the shoulder pads. That's nice. The Celestial Vindicators are known to fight with terrifying fury, tearing their foes apart. And you reckon a night on to the bad guys to debate, folks. Okay, so there's a little bit of bump there, and then we go on to the Stormcast Eternals. That's the second part of what I was saying there earlier. Rites of Reforging. When a Stormcast Eternal is slain, they are not truly lost. Their souls flash upwards to Azir, back to Sigmar's vaults. In time, it will be reforged to join the fight once more. Okay, so again, there we go. Interesting reading if you like your background of the Stormcast, and even if you don't, you know, you learn something new every day. Okay, Garius Direblade. I love these names. A Vindicator character for you to read about. Dahlia Sorrow Shield, and she is another one. The Age of Chaos. There's always one feature in every issue that I turn around and say I want to read as soon as I walk away after the camera's stopped. I do think that's it. Look at that, folks. All fire, flame, and yeah. There's all your bump about it there. For those who want to actually get the magazine and stuff. There's more about it there. Again, you know what I'm going to say by now, don't you, folks? It's becoming like a byword. Artwork, artwork, artwork. So for those following, how many times I say the word art or work, yeah, that one's for you. Azirheim, Last Bastion of Order, tells us about, obviously looks like one of the bastions, one of the bases there. Azirheim was the only one of the realm's great cities to survive the Age of Chaos. There you go, it's not a base, it's a city. Okay, some about the big boy, Nagash. I love this guy. Anything to do with Nagash, guys, even if you're not interested in the Nighthorns, is always a good read, always highly recommended. We finish off there. So, like you see, we've got 2 pages of bump, 2 pages of fluff. More bits and bobs. Death waits for all that betrayers shall pay. in time, Nagash the Great Necromancer. Okay, and then we have the Realms. Bear in mind, folks, remember what I said to you in the past, where these magazines fall apart and you separate them into different bits, the history, the fluff, all that. So the Realms, Fury of the Reforged. I'm not going to read that to you guys. It's just a little bit of bump about like what happens to our Stormcast when they are on the receiving end of a defeat, a mortal defeat, I should say. Oh, look at that. Do you know what? I need some of these guys with the wings. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what they're called, but it might be Judicators. I need them, seriously. They'd be absolutely lovely to build and lovely to paint. Imagine painting a white there with some ink, a little bit of dry brushing. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about there. Most definitely. Okay, and then we go on to our how to paint, shade and layer paints. And again, with this being like a tutorial magazine, it's always handy. I mean, I've been in the hobby over 20 years, like you all know by now, regular viewers, and I still learn something new out of these things, like, you know, what technical paints are for and stuff like that. Okay, so how to shade, Rakeland Flesh Shade, and it just shows you some previously painted models of the Stormcast, and obviously applying the shade, and just shows you how it's supposed to come up, where it picks up all those little recesses in like the gauntlets and the armour and stuff like that. And then it just says about dry brushing. So again, most of you know now my favourite technique. Paint something, ink it, dry brush it. So there we go, that's how we dry brush, we know all this. And it just says about your overbrush, dry brush overspill, basically just letting you know, reminding you to wipe your brush as good as you can to avoid recessed paint. What you're looking at doing is getting the actual fibres of like the paint, almost like a talc, you know, that really dry powder to go upon the models, and it just shows us the shading and the dry brushing complete. So as you can see there, you know, if you didn't really want to paint them, and a lot of people know my feelings on painting. They're nice, you know, you could use them on a table, you know, if you come round and you said, like, you know, do you want a game and whatever, these are my models, I'll be, yeah man, you know, or do that, you know, come play and put those down. There's absolutely nothing wrong, guys. Don't ever get bullied into this. You've got to have a golden demon, quality paint jobs, or you can't play. Get your stuff, build it. If you want to paint it pink with orange spots, do so. It's your models, always remember that, okay? And then this looks like the playthrough Scouring the Tombs. On the orders of Xandria Azorbolt, the Sequitors have been searching the ruined tombs looking for magical relics. So it shows us what we need to do to set up. And you know how these go by now, guys. Anybody new here, it just gives us a little run through of the special rules for the models we've got in this demo. So in this case, it's the Sequitors and then the Chain Rasps. Tells you how you like do things like piling, what dice you need, all that sort of stuff. That's nice. It just says turn sequence, movement, combat, and then amongst the combat is piling weapons to hit rolls, to wound rolls, and to damage. Okay, and it continues, carries on. Sequitors attack, Chain Rasps attack, and there's a nice war scroll there, which you all know how much I rate these, why, and everything else. Our usual now tells us about the guidance, the Warhammer community, and exploration. Basically just moving you on in the hobby, continue your journey. And next week's models is going to be issue 8, and we get a Celestar Ballistia, which is the catapult in the middle. We get some Cantor blue paint, and we get the guys who man that catapult. Okay, quick blip at the front cover of the next issue for issue 8. Okay guys, that's it from me. This one, like I say, should be shorter because there's no model turntable at the end. So, in closing, if you discover me via the YouTube algorithm, Bing, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, hopefully word of mouth, and you like what you see, please leave me a subscribe, check out the other content, share the video, like the video, and more importantly, leave me a comment. Okay, I do love comments, and to you returning guys, I really hope you're enjoying the series. Let me know how you're doing, okay? Thank you as always, guys, and I'll see you next week for issue 8.